This is either really good or really bad.
All right, guys, welcome to the RUNT podcast. This is our maiden voyage, guys. This is our very first go at this, and I'm a little nervous. I don't know, how do the rest of you guys feel? Pretty good?
I'm nervous for you.
You're nervous for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like this pressure that this has to be good, that people are going to listen to this.
It
No one is going to listen to this. Can we just acknowledge the fact that no one will? Yeah, our wives won't listen to this. That's how this is going to go.
I don't know.
Maybe just to give some pointers.
Since she and I have
something to mock us by, at least.
Oh my gosh!
That's what
Welcome, guys! If this first podcast you have listened to for us, then hopefully you're in for a treat. But my name is Danny, and I am here with you guys every single episode. Who else do we have around the table?
Derek.
Zach.
Steve.
Matt.
And does anybody know where Chuck is?
No, I think he's going to be late. I don't know. He had something.
Oh, he's always late.
First episode, and he's going to be late.
First episode, no Chuck.
Sure.
All right, that's fine.
What's up,
that's
Chuck?
fine. So this is the RUNT podcast. We are going to look at an album that is revered and beloved, and we are going to look for what we believe is the weakest link on the album. Hence the word RUNT. RUNT is the kind of the weakest one of the litter, and so we're going to look at that one song on every great album that we think just doesn't quite hit the mark. What are the albums we're going to be looking for? What's our criteria?
Sold lots of units.
So much. He said unit. We're going to be looking at albums that have
top the chart.
won awards.
Yeah.
Been on the charts. Has maybe a cult following. We are going to be looking at albums across all different genres, and not just things that only we have listened to, but we're going to be looking at albums that we know that you have heard of.
Wait, does that include country?
Country music will be on here.
Gosh. Are we going to do Chris Gaines?
We've Chris.
There's no run on that album.
Was so awesome. It was an awesome album.
His hair. That's the run.
I just remember seeing that album in stores and thinking he looks so familiar. But that I don't know. What do you think, Chuck? Oh, Chuck's not here. Forgot. But anyway, we figured that we would go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off on this thing and start with probably the most well-known, most beloved album of all time.
Well, hey, before you announce the album, what if you tell the idea?
What are we trying to do? Build suspense?
Yes, exactly. What if you explain what the idea of the RUNT is?
He did.
I just did.
Or did it? Oh, that was Chuck.
We are starting off our very first episode with Michael Jackson's Thriller. I know right now some of you guys are already thinking, don't mess with my favorite album. But some people are already laughing at whether or not this should be anybody's favorite album. But anyway, before we actually get into our RUNT, let's do just an album recap. Let's talk about this album. Let's just talk about it in general, and then we'll talk about a little bit like our familiarity with it. How we came across the album. Some of us lived through it. Some of us maybe caught it on the tail end of its popularity, but
and some of us did not.
And some of us did not.
One of us.
Thriller. So, what do we know about Thriller?
I know that Chuck knows the most about it, but
and he's not here.
Again,
he is not here. It's I did not know this. It's Michael Jackson's 6th studio album.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Didn't realize he had that many solo albums before this. I knew obviously he had a solo career after the 5, but I just didn't know he had that many albums. It came out in 1982, And something else that I thought was really, really interesting is within that first year, it had already broken the record as the world's largest selling album within the first year.
That's nuts.
Like 66 million copies or something
Well,
like
that's
that.
to date.
That's,
That's up till now. It sold 66 plus.
oh, really? I thought it was within the first year that it
No,
sold
the first year was
66
like
million.
33.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Up to date, it sold 66 million plus.
oh wow. And see, I had read, I read that the budget for this thing was like $750,000, but that's like close to what, like $2 million or something, which is a huge budget. Of course, you got Quincy Jones producing, who had he already produced? What's that?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Quincy. Had he already produced Duke, or was this before or after? I can't remember.
Produce what?
If you've ever heard Quincy's album Duke, it's there's some, I don't know, I feel like there's some similarity between the two. I don't know which one carried over to influence the other.
When I hear Duke, I
You think
of
John
Genesis.
Wayne?
I think
Oh, you
of
think of Genesis?
Yeah, I think of their.
Oh wait! Did I say dude?
Oh, you said Duke.
The dude. Sorry, the dude.
Okay.
The dude abides.
Yeah, the dude abides.
Wait,
The dude was 81.
What?
The dude was 81.
Oh, yes.
So
So
dude
you're
came
right.
out first.
Yes.
Wow. So that's really interesting. I also heard that Quincy and Jackson did not get along very well
Yeah,
during
I
the
read
recording
that,
this
yeah.
album. Which is funny because after they won, like their 8 Grammys or something, they seemed
Yeah.
to be pretty chummy. Like they were the best friends in the world at that point.
Well, it was. I mean, in the research, and I think you and I have the same research, but
Which
Wikipedia.
deep, thorough research.
Um,
Hey, I looked at some other things.
I looked at a couple things. I didn't know that it took. It took like half a year to make this,
Yeah.
if not a little longer.
They remixed
That's-
like every song after
Yeah.
the fact, and what I saw is also Wikipedia said it took like a week for them. They worked on each one for a week, like by itself, to remix it after they recorded all the stuff.
Yeah, which I wonder who didn't like what. Did Quincy come to Michael and say, "Hey, this is what I got," and Michael's like, "No," and so he's the one that went back to the studio, or what?
Well, I did see like Quincy and one of the other guys working on it. His name's not coming to mind right now, but Rod Temperton.
Mhm.
They didn't like how long the intro was to Billie Jean,
Oh yeah,
but Michael wanted to keep it because he said it made him feel like dancing.
which is all that really matters.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think I should crochet that on a pillow and just keep that beside me at all times.
Makes me wanna
Does it make
dance.
me feel like dancing?
The other fun fact I saw was that at the time he had the best deal of any recording artist, where he's getting $2 per album sold.
$2 per album. Yeah,
Wow.
which is crazy at that time for
Yeah.
sure.
Crazy
There's
now.
9 tracks on the album. 7 of those went top 10. So if any of those happen to be your runt for this podcast episode, shame on you from the beginning. But 7 of those went to top 10.
Which ones?
I think I was looking at it. Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, Want to Be Starting Something, Human Nature, PYT, of course, Thriller. Also, obviously, Thriller with its first long-form video, I think, maybe on MTV. Also, Disclaimer on MTV at the beginning of the video, which
I didn't realize they had a disclaimer.
it did. It had a discleisure at the beginning.
Too scary for kids.
Yeah.
Well, I like who they got.
Still
to-
is.
I like who they. I like how they got John Landis to direct the video.
Yeah.
I mean, since he did American Werewolf in London, that's
There's definitely some similarity there in
Pretty
that
good
that first part for sure.
yeah.
So let's talk about its impact. The thing went. It was absolutely crazy. The amount of albums that it has eventually sold. Rolling Stone placed it as number 20 on their top 500 greatest albums of all time. I think I read somewhere else that it when it was re-released. I think what year was that? 2006, I think, when it was re-released with Thriller 25. 2008. re-released Thriller 25, and it peaked at number 2 in the U.S.
Wow.
When it happened the second time around. And then, according to Nielsen, Thriller was the 14th best-selling album of 2009, which is ridiculous. I didn't look this up. I probably should have. Was that Michael Jackson's death, 2009? Is that what caused it to
I
spike
think that's
again?
right.
I think
Yeah.
I think his death caused.
June of 2009.
Has it been gone from us for that long?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Shout out to Latvia. 17-time platinum.
Yeah.
33 in America.
Yeah,
So,
2009.
so here's the other thing that I found really interesting is there seems to be a very heated debate as to whether or not Thriller is the greatest selling album of all time.
Well, how's
it's-
there a debate? I mean, it either is or isn't.
They something about streams and how many streams equal an album sold and everything. So it depending on who you ask, it's either Michael Jackson's Thriller or the Eagles' Greatest
Oh,
Hits.
goodness gracious.
Which to
Forget
me,
Hey, some people here don't like the
albums, which is a whole nother podcast
That's right.
for those of you who are eager to find out who at this table does not like the Eagles vehemently.
That's right. But we
no.
like Eagles. We just don't
But we like
the
Eagles. We just don't like the Eagles. No, which kind of like, I mean, album sold is album sold, but does it even qualify if it's a greatest hits album? Should that even be?
Yeah,
I think
I
that's a
agree.
different category.
No.
It puts it in a different place.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
kinda
That's,
cheating.
it's a compilation.
Yeah,
I mean, this album is almost
possibly.
the greatest hits album,
If,
with the exception
if any of the
a
remaining
few runs.
band members of Eagles are listening, we love you. We would love to have you on the show. Chuck would love to have you on the show. But yeah, so depending on, I looked at it and I think worldwide, Thrillers has like is higher. But if you go by U.S., the Eagles have actually outstripped Thriller. But from what I was looking at, it's only just a few thousand copies.
I'm
Or
gonna
a
go
few
buy.
million copies.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll go
Few
buy
mil-
a few.
Yeah. just,
it over.
just to see the King of Pop back on top.
Well, no, just to see the Eagles fall.
Just to see the Eagles fall.
Don Henley, if you're listening, you're not.
Let's just say Zach, I don't think is gonna like the majority of the albums that we should probably review on this. By the way, do you know who IQ is, Zach?
I was okay. So
I just heard about this Journey-esque or Genesis-esque band.
well, yeah. Keith, my pastor, he asked me the same question, and I told him, and I responded. I said, "You mean my personal IQ?"
Oh my gosh!
And that apparently no, he meant a British band that I've not heard.
And
of
you've
them.
never heard of them.
I haven't listened to him yet. I'll give him a listen. Comparing anything to Genesis, though, that's folly.
It's blasphemy.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
blasphemy. Wow.
Back to Thriller. I think if you look at how long it took to make it, and then the whole taking a week on every single track to remaster it
Mhm.
or remix it, you see just how serious they were about making this the best album that they could make it.
And I believe I read somewhere Michael actually said, I'm selling out on this one. I want this to be an every single track top 10 number one hit.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be, that's a topic of discussion as to whether or not that's quote unquote selling out. But he definitely set out to say, I'm making a hit album
Well, I think.
and I don't care about
I think.
anything else.
Just from what I read, it just seemed like he had a chip on his shoulder coming into this production and really just tired of people not taking him seriously enough and just basically threw down the gauntlet,
Yeah.
Um,
He was very unhappy about the sales of the album before.
Yeah.
Off the Wall came out,
70
4 years before that? 78, 9, something like
79.
that. So yeah, he was very unhappy with the sales of that, and so he kind of set out like I'm going to do.
Which sold
something.
over 20 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang it.
Yeah, yeah. I had also heard that people were concerned that Michael was trying to appease his audience, particularly his white audience, because the first single that came off the album was what Baby Be Mine with Paul McCartney.
The
The Girl's
Mine.
Mine with Paul McCartney, and they thought that he was trying to, try to woo over his white audience,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Him and Paul were just in a battle for a girl.
That's
Well,
it was a biographical song.
This was like a simpatico thing though, because then Michael was on, the song "Say Say Say" on one
Yeah.
of Paul's
Yeah,
albums.
Absolutely.
So I think.
There's a question. Which one of those two songs is better?
Wow,
Which Jackson McCartney song is better?
that is a very difficult question.
No, because you don't like either one of them.
I think we're all figuring out the run.
I think we're headed into RUNT territory. So let's get away from that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about. There's tons of stuff more that we could say about this album. Obviously, some of you are probably going to comment on social media and tell us how horribly we screwed some of that information up.
Oh, well.
Go ahead.
Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah, exactly.
But that means people are listening then.
Are
Why
they? Are they really?
I know who's
If they're
not-
going to say something about them,
We
that means they
appreciate our
listen.
listeners.
I mean, I know
we
who's
really
not
do.
going
Thanks,
to say
guys.
something about it. Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
You went there.
He did.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about album memories. Album
R.I.P.
memories. I was just a young lad when this album came out. Michael Jackson. I lived through this thing absolutely blowing up with Michael Jackson being everywhere on clothing, starting pretty much an entire trend of suit wear or whatever you want to call it, with parachute pants and zipper jackets and all like that. I may or may not have had a Soul white glove that I used to wear in my bedroom and pretend I was singing. Don't even.
Any sparkles on it? Or,
It wasn't sparkly. I didn't
yeah,
have.
you weren't- you
I
weren't
didn't
legit.
get the sparkly.
Gosh,
Not good enough.
If it makes it feel any better, I also fashioned out of aluminum foil a Freddy Krueger gloves.
All right, you just redeemed yourself.
I just
Been redeemed.
I didn't wear them both at the same time, like one on each hand. I wore the glove, man. I used to pretend. I do remember watching MTV. I can't remember if I was allowed to or not at the moment, but I do remember watching MTV and seeing the premiere of the Thriller video, and being just absolutely blown away. Hadn't seen nothing
And
like
scared?
that. I think I do remember being freaked out a little bit at that opening scene. But yeah, I mean, I just remember the hype, and I remember how crazy people were for Michael Jackson, and I was one of them.
Have you seen the Indian version of the Thriller video?
No.
The prison
Shoulda-
video?
shoulda-
No. Like a Bollywood version.
No.
Oh. We'll seek that out.
We'll seek that out afterwards.
Yeah.
All right.
It's worthwhile.
What other memories do you guys have?
I don't have much of a memory.
Are you speaking about the album at this point, or just
I'm just speaking in
I don't have
general,
much of a memory at this point.
I just remember 4th grade, standing in line at class. We were about to go somewhere, and I remember this girl just had like this Michael Jackson album. No, actually, it was not a Michael Jackson
It
album.
wasn't even Michael Jackson.
It wasn't even Michael Jackson. I was thinking about. Now my memory's coming back to this. No, it was.
It was a Milli Vanilli
It
album.
was a Trapper Keeper folder,
Oh.
and it had Michael Jackson on it.
Like she had cut it out and slid it into
No, I think it was
No,
actually
they
one
had
she
one where
bought.
he was
They
like
had
laying
them.
there in his
really?
his
Yeah.
white suit.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
wow.
actually the one.
Which
It's actually
this
not his
this
Steve-
album
Steve
cover
had the
by
same
this
one.
album cover, by the way, has been spoofed so many times.
Yeah,
It's not even
sure.
funny.
But
go
where
ahead.
things got weird was, well, for me back then, was this girl was
Weird
kind of
things
standing
got
there,
weird.
and she just kind of like leans in and starts kissing it. This little 4th grader, and I'm standing behind her.
A
I'm
fourth
like,
grader kissing her trapper. That's
it was passionate.
Wait a minute.
it was passionate.
Did Michael Jackson know?
He probably would have been down for that.
Gosh. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have chose Thriller. Maybe we should have chose something else. Oh my
you
goodness.
knew that was gonna come off.
I just figured.
I mean,
Maybe
how
the
can it
maybe the
not?
problem isn't with the album, but with
Yeah. Yeah.
the person.
Yeah. Okay. Who else? Chuck. Is Chuck here?
No, his car's not even here. He must have left. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What else?
Obviously, my memory will obviously be a lot different because I wasn't around when this was like a thing.
Uh-huh.
But when I was probably 15, my uncle gave me his record player and a whole bunch of records, and one of them was Thriller, also Off the Wall, but one of them was Thriller. So that's the first time I really remember listening to it like front to back. I mean, I knew Michael Jackson's songs, obviously, but I had never listened to that album that way. Like,
Yeah.
just listened to it. And I remember 15-year-old me who was already like going in a whole lot of different directions with music, thinking like, dude, this record is nuts. And
So
in a
it,
good
it
way.
held the same feeling for you.
Yeah, I think I kind of got it. Like up until that point, I was like, oh, these are good pop songs. But then I listened to this, and I was like, oh, okay. Like this is why Michael Jackson is like who has the I guess the legacy or whatever you want to call it that he does.
Right.
And like I remember thinking how, I mean, they're like they sound like they're from the '80s, but they also like have this
Transcendence.
Yeah, there's like a timelessness I think about like a good pop song is a good pop song 30 years later or whatever too. So
Yeah, and I think now you also hear influence in a lot of music
yeah, absolutely. Well,
from this album.
absolutely, yeah. Like if you listen to a Bruno Mars record, like there's clearly, I mean, he like steals. I don't say steals, but sorry, Bruno, but he like
Draws
draws a lot of influence. Yeah, there's
does what every other
obvious
musician
influence.
does.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, absolutely. And can we just say for the record, The Weeknd is basically just trying to be Michael. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely.
For sure.
Who? Yeah. That's
Oh my gosh.
that's the next album we're gonna do, and Zach's gonna be like, wait, what?
Who had better hair? That's the question.
Oh, before or
it's-
after the Pepsi commercial?
Nice.
Oh, is that the one where?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Choice of a new generation.
Steve.
I honestly don't have much of a recollection of it. I was not allowed to listen to that music.
You weren't allowed to listen
No,
to
I
Michael
was
Jackson.
not. But I do remember hearing about the videos.
There was controversy
Oh, yeah.
about the Thriller video
Yes.
from certain religious
Yes.
organizations saying that they thought it was satanic, that Vincent Price had a portion in it. I think I even heard somewhere that was a real curse.
Right,
That's
yeah.
a real spell.
Right, so that was not. But I remember I'd hear it on the bits and pieces on the radio, but
Yeah.
then honestly, when I saw the video for the first time, I was probably 10 or 11, 12, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was incredible. It was like a short video. I mean, short movie.
Absolutely.
It had everything in it, and I remember that. But yeah, I don't. This album was not listened to at all.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What would little Steve have been listening to?
Let's see here. What would have been whatever mom and dad were playing?
Say Maranatha.
Some DC talk?
No,
that's
no,
too,
no,
that's
that
too
was
late.
too
That's
late.
too late.
That was when I was
Were
a
they
teenager.
born?
No, but it was a lot of whatever my parents listened to. So a lot of
Kingston
50s,
Trio.
60s,
Cindy Patty,
70s. A lot of that. Whenever we got in the
Seasons.
car, Dad was in charge of the radio, so
Yeah.
we'd go anywhere. You knew that we knew the oldies. Yep. And yeah, but then it was as I got into the later 80s, I was able to start listening to some other stuff, but still
yeah.
it was very strict rules of what I could listen to.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't actually have the album until much later, and my wife got it for me for Christmas one year, and more for the nostalgia. But when I got it, I was like a little kid. I was like, I've got a copy of Thriller, and now that I've gotten into like LPs and vinyls, it was like one of the very first things I wanted to go find was a copy of Thriller for sure. Yeah. I'm afraid to ask you, Zach,
Why?
what your memories, was it at a burning? Was it?
Honestly, I really don't have much of a memory of Thriller. It came out like right before I was born, I think. But
So that may have been part of
Yeah.
it was
him being
not.
born.
It came out
The
the month,
doggone girl is mine.
came out the month before I was born. I mean, I don't have the same experience where I like discovered the album and was like blown away. It wasn't really on my radar of what I listened to in my formative years. I
Yeah.
mean, I listened to a lot like Steve. His dad's in control of the radio when you get in the car, or if you're not riding with dad, then mom is. But both of them listen to a lot of classic rock. My mom listened more to like the '60s and Four Seasons, a lot of Motown stuff.
Mhm.
So I was introduced to a lot of that stuff. Sadly, I was introduced to Eagles.
Not the Eagles, but Eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah.
And my dad, he likes like Moody Blues, which they just
Wow.
bore the hell out of me.
My dad also liked Moody Blues a lot.
What?
My dad also liked
Oh,
Moody
okay.
Blues.
So,
I don't have a strong reaction
But-
to him at all.
In terms,
so you weren't one of the kids in America who instantly tried to learn the moonwalk, thanks to
No.
this album
No.
and to
Maybe-
Michael's
Right here.
performance.
Nailed it.
I don't know. Maybe my
Derek and
That,
Chuck.
for those of you that can't see the hand that just got raised into the air,
It's being weighted.
that's
Yeah.
Derek.
my brother can do it. So
Yeah.
Then I went on and proceeded to learn how to do the worm.
nice.
And
I'll show you. in
and
a
lost
second.
all credibility of the
Yeah, that's
moonwalk. At that point, it
I
was
moved
over.
straight into breakdancing.
Straight. Oh my gosh!
I was-
Electric
I was-
Boogaloo. That's our second album.
I'll
of this,
say
of the
I was
podcast.
more familiar with Black or White than I was anything off of this.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well.
Because I think that came out like around the time I turned 10.
So you sidestepped bad completely and just forget it.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, I probably didn't really pay attention to this album until much later. And, I mean, I don't dislike it, but I'm not going to be one of the people that's like, oh, this is the greatest album of all time.
Right.
You know.
And I don't personally. It's not one of the greatest albums of all time to me, but I completely respect it and
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and,
It has a
and
place.
recognize
Yeah.
how it changed the face of pop
Well,
music. For
and
And,
sure.
and you look at the numbers too. I mean, that
Absolutely.
kind of
Yeah.
what was. put it there.
What I've learned from doing my podcast with my wife.
Oh, plug.
Plug.
Shameless
Right
plug.
now.
Shameless plug. What podcast
what
is
is
that
that?
by
What is
chance,
that? What's it
Zach?
called again?
From
mean to ask
doing Zach and Melissa Go to the Movies. .com.
Where can I was about to say, where can they find that
Wait,
podcast?
say that again. I didn't hear that. I didn't
Zach
catch
and
that.
Melissa Go to the Movies.com. We're also on SoundCloud.
Oh my goodness.
Are we providing a link to this on our website or no?
It will be
link 'em.
in the show's description.
I'll charge a nominal fee.
Oh my goodness.
But what I've learned doing that show is a lot of the movies we've done, we've seen, or at least I have seen, but I find that I have a different take on it after I actually go through and watch it with a more critical eye than just, say, having it on in the background, sort of, because we've done a lot of the Friday the 13th series, which
Mhm.
I love those movies, and then I actually paid attention to them. And I was like, oh no, I hate these movies.
Oh yeah.
So I've actually been paying closer attention to like the production and everything on this album and the instrumentation, and it's
It's really solid.
Yeah,
It is. It is solid. Which is the reason why, Matt, when you were saying that it still resonated with you, even after hearing it so much later after it came out. That was really intriguing to me to see, like, does someone still have that same, sense of, like, awareness of this album?
Yeah.
Being that you didn't live when it came out and experienced the hype of it.
I was gonna say I didn't have like the whole like mania involved,
Yeah.
but I definitely was like I think I got it when I
Uh-huh.
listened to it, and I was at a point where I could actually like sit and really just listen to music, like I had to learn to
Right.
not just have it on as like a background thing, but really try to appreciate it. And so I think when I was able to do that, it kind of clicked a little bit. I wouldn't say it's one of my like favorite albums of all time either, but I think it's great. I do think it's a good album all around.
Right.
Even though I do have a runt, but
I mean,
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess where I have trouble like looking at it and being like, oh, I can see why this was such a cultural phenomenon, is having come into being a Genesis fan later in my life and really getting into all of their music, including their early stuff. And then I hear that music and it completely changes my perception of what I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like their music, that's like shaped what I like to listen to now.
Right.
So then I listen to this and I'm like, meh,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
but
You just wait until we get a country album.
well, if it's like Marty Robbins, then I'm all about that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting Marty Robbins, but
Oh,
okay.
Marty Robbins. See, that's another thing. That's another musician that's come along that's just kind of shaken things up for me.
Wow.
As I listen to Marty Robbins, I listen to the song El Paso.
Yeah.
El Paso.
For me, it was Willie
Wow.
Nelson. Willie Nelson really, like, wow, country music can be like this. But anyway,
Wow.
we digress. So before we get into the runts, let's talk about what are the highlights, what are the standout tracks. I will say, most people say Thriller. Obviously, obviously that is the main track that everyone thinks of, title track. And if we have the opportunity, maybe we will play a clip of that for you guys, even though
Just
you've
sing
all
it.
heard it.
We'll sing it.
Sure.
We'll just sing it. The funk of 40,000 years. That's going to be the episode title right there. Is it 40,000 or 40? I can't.
The Funk of 40,000.
The Funk of 40,000. There you go. I think for me, despite the fact that the killer tracks are there, obviously, I think my favorite is a toss up between "Wanna Be Starting Something" or "Human Nature." I just think "Human Nature" is just the smoothest song. I really, really enjoy that. But when you start hearing that introduction to "Wanna Be Starting Something," you're like, something.
Oh, that Lynn drum sound, like right to start the album up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I was
just
gonna say,
that
Is
is
that
killer.
a fiddle drum?
yeah.
Such
Yeah,
a good
I'm
intro,
pretty sure it is.
intro song for the.
Yeah, I mean, just
what's
there's
the
just like a
follow?
couple of hits of it, and it kicks in. It's just
Yeah. It makes you.
if I'm wrong, correct me.
Want
Oh, I
to
don't know.
dance,
Okay.
as Mike would say. Want to dance. What other standout tracks? What gets you? What makes you want to dance, Derek, on this album?
Oh, hold on. Before you do that, I will say.
Can I
Chuck?
Well, he's not here. So.
Okay.
I will say I want to be starting something like what I didn't notice until I played it through my my big old speaker here.
What kind of speaker is that?
It's
We're trying to see if we can make money.
oh.
What kind of speaker is that?
That's the JBL Charge Extreme.
There you go, folks. JBL, if you're listening, we have about three listeners.
I
Well,
have another
maybe.
JBL at home too.
We have lots of your gear. So if you just want to give money toward this podcast, we appreciate it.
I never really paid attention to the bass on the album too much, which is funny, since I play bass. But maybe it's because I just couldn't really hear it that well. So
Right.
listening to it through a quality JBL speaker,
Yeah.
you could really hear Lewis Johnson's bass part coming through on the tracks, but especially on "Wanna Be Starting Something."
Yes.
He's playing his Music Man Stingray, Sterling Ball. If you're listening.
Well, if you want to talk bass, I mean, nothing. I don't know what other songs are as iconic as Billie Jean.
Rocket Man.
Bass was
Oh, bass wise, Higher Ground.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A couple Chili Pepper songs have
Yeah.
I don't know.
the bass.
I don't know.
part,
Speaking of musicianship, did you guys see that several members of Toto
Yeah.
are the actual backup band for this?
Yes.
I
Yep.
know
They really
Steve
went all out.
Lukather.
For all the
I see
the
that.
crap that Toto gets,
Well, they were all like
except for
session
Africa,
musicians, weren't
which
they?
has blown up probably
Because of
thanks to
Weezer.
Weezer. but for all
That
the
was fine
flack,
for
they carried this album, from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean they were all session musicians. That
Yeah.
got together and did their thing. So
Absolutely. So are we ready for our runs?
Well, you did
Go
ask.
ahead. I did.
You were
I
asking
did
Derek
ask.
before I cut him off what he
That's
thought was
true.
a standout.
What's the standout there?
well, I mean I like the three: the Beat It, Billie Jean, Thriller. I think Beat It and Billie Jean are like really the ones I like the most. Beat It, you got the Eddie Van Halen
Yeah.
solo.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's the one he solos on. Yeah.
Yeah.
and Billie Jean. I don't know. I just like those more. No reason in particular.
Yeah.
You know, in the actual inside of the vinyl, where they have all
With the cub.
where they have all the lyrics and everything, they have Eddie Van Halen listed as Edward Van Halen instead of Eddie.
Did you just go try to find Chuck?
I don't know what he's
I don't
doing.
know. Derek has left the building.
Man down, man down, man down.
All right. Wait. I'll say my standout.
What is it?
My standout is Thriller.
Yeah.
That song's awesome.
I will say this: working with a lot of young people, as I do, the moment you play Thriller, even still today, they come out the floor. They don't often know the dance very well, but they
just
still.
such an awesome
But
song.
it's just it's a great thing, and but
Well, and then the other thing, my daughters really like Beat It.
oh yeah,
I don't know why, they just do. I like
about gang violence. That song is
well, no,
unless it's about overeating, or is that a different song?
No,
That's
I prefer Eat It.
You prefer Eat It.
Eat It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh!
I love Eat It. But
great.
yeah, no, Michael Jackson said, as an anti-gang violence song,
Right.
and just saying that you don't have to kill someone to prove you're tough or die to prove you're tough.
Yeah, you just dance like there's no
Well,
tomorrow.
that's true.
Dance battles are.
It was the
tough
first
guys
dance
do.
battle of video.
I will admit that I don't like Billie Jean.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And he
up
did.
to-
Now stay away from your runt. We haven't got there yet.
It's not my run.
Okay.
But he did say, well, he didn't say. I read Daryl Hall said that Michael Jackson told him that he took the I guess, the drum beat
Yeah.
and maybe the bass part from I Can't Go For That and just ripped it off for Billie Jean.
I actually had heard that before as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's another song that Michael Jackson does with Pretty Young Thing. It always reminds me of that song. What song you just mentioned from Hall & Oates?
I
I Can't Go For That.
Yeah. For some reason, that song.
Pretty Young Thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a part in there where they just said like Pretty Young Thing, PYT or something like that, and it just always
Yeah.
reminds me of that. I can't go for that.
Yeah, that's the name of the song.
I know.
Well,
I'm just saying
apparently
that's what the song always reminds me of. Is that song he's referring
Oh.
to?
there's some controversy with Wannabe starting something with Mama Say Mama Sa Mama Kusa,
Yeah.
where apparently goodness,
Like that it was ripped off.
yeah, it was some African musician.
Huh.
Apparently, he claims Michael Jackson stole it without permission, and Michael, I think he admitted that he did.
Yeah.
And I think they settled out of court.
Wow.
But then I read that apparently Rihanna sampled
Maybe he got a monkey out of it.
Yeah.
Bubbles.
Yeah.
I
Which I heard. I think it was. Maybe it was off that Jerry Seinfeld comedians getting coffee or something like that, where they said that in his old age, Bubbles was really like volatile and like you couldn't get near him,
Yeah.
and then he would like rip your head off or something, which is just kind of funny to me.
What's the deal with bubbles?
Yeah.
yeah.
So are we ready for our runts?
Yeah. Well, you guys all liked Want to Be Starting Something. I did not.
That's your
Really?
runt?
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Get out of here.
Kidding me?
Supposed to be starting
It
something.
He
started.
wants to be starting something. It's inspired
It
you.
started great. I like it. Then all of a sudden it got repetitive.
Yeah.
And
It
then,
does.
Extremely.
And then
That's for
I heard
dancing,
something
man.
about vegetables in there for yeah, yeah, yeah. He goes on and on and on.
Vegetables. Wait, does he say vegetables
Vegetables.
and want to be
You're a
starting
vegetable.
something?
Yes.
Yeah, he does actually.
Do you
I
want to be
think.
a vegetable? What?
Right.
What's
Yeah,
he-
he does come
the,
from.
the song
Oh,
apparently
yes.
is about his disdain toward like the media.
Huh.
And so I guess maybe the message is
Like
they
being
just,
a vegetable as in like just
they just
take-
treat you as like something consumable,
Yeah.
I guess,
Huh.
and just throw you away.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
What's he,
I
what's
get
he
the
say
message.
vegetable?
You're
We
a
got-
vegetable. You're a vegetable. Still, they hate you. You're a vegetable. You're
See?
just a buffet. You're a vegetable. They eat off of
Those
you.
are quality
You're a vegetable.
lyrics, Steve.
Yeah.
And then it sounded like it went into a Gloria Estefan song
It
at
does.
the end.
It totally
you get
does.
the drum beat, and then like there's like that chant, right? And then like that's
Oh
how like the
my
last
goodness.
few minutes of the song went, and I was just like,
Oh wait.
right. And I'm like, okay, this is how you're gonna start the album. That was just. It was, to me, it was
so
just
you
like
thought that the lead off track
I
is the
did.
worst track.
I did. It was
It
just.
does not hold up to the rest of the album.
There's a few other songs that I'll let other people say things, but overall, I thought that was the weakest track out of all of them on the.
I have a feeling you're going to be alone on this one.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
alone
know.
then.
I don't know.
Hey, no, that's good.
That's
fine, yes.
because like I said, because I'm listening to it, and I had to listen to it several times, and I'm like, is it that bad? And I was like,
Wow.
it was those certain, like I said, some great musical riffs in there, guitars, bass. I mean, you can hear it all.
Yeah.
But then it just like that repetitive, like it almost. People are gonna hate me for this, but it sounded like a kid's song because on
kid's song.
shows they always repeat the song over
And Michael
over
Jackson
and
has
over.
an interesting history with kids.
Wow, I
Oh
wasn't
my
going there.
Gosh. Now I will say this.
I'm not aware of that.
I've always thought that "Wanna Be Starting Something" was probably a chorus too long. It needed to be shortened.
It was
up.
about a minute too long.
Yeah, just a little
And
bit.
it's
for
what
sure.
6:02 for the length of the song.
Yeah.
So it was about a minute and a
pretty
half
long
too
for a
long
pop
because.
song.
But you got to think
The average
this
one
was
is-
definitely made for the floor. It was
Oh
made
yeah,
for the
this-
dance floor,
right. But
So
like,
you
because
want it to
that's
be a
why
little
it
bit longer.
reminded me of Gloria Estefan.
Yeah,
When I just.
because you don't have remixes back in this
No,
day, so
I
you
agree,
got to
though,
make a
'cause
track long.
When you get to that "Mama Say, Mama Saw My
Right.
Moccasin,"
No, but it's just like I mean, it goes on and
It's
on
too
and on,
much.
and you're just
Yeah.
going like, when is this going to stop? And I
Yeah.
found myself looking at the time, going, I still have another 47 seconds of this.
Wow.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I feel like-
absolutely.
I feel
Absolutely.
like if I enjoy dancing, I don't. But if I if I enjoyed dancing and I were around in the '80s, I'd rather dance to like Duran Duran or something. I feel
Duran.
I feel like their music was better suited for that.
Now I understand.
Wow.
Yeah, I understand what they were doing.
I
trying
love
to-
Duran Duran.
Like his
Good.
whole
I do
album
too.
is taking a big step out. All the money they spent, all of this, but to me, it just I would have started with something else.
Well, and I do feel like sometimes bands will do this. The lead track or that opening track will be reminiscent of whatever the last album sounded like. And I feel like if you listen to "Want to Be Starting Something," it could have easily gone on Off the
oh,
Wall.
I thought it could have been in the 70s,
You know,
very easily.
and I feel like it was kind of leading that, and then goes into a
branches
different
off,
direction. What's the
yeah.
song right after that?
Baby Be Mine.
Oh, let's not even talk about
But
that.
yeah, but like with that, it was reminiscent of okay, this is where I was. I was with the
Yeah.
Jackson Five, so it had a little bit of that extra singing in the background,
Yeah.
the vocals. But like I said, it just kept going and
Too
going.
long.
And then I heard of vegetables, and I'm like, I don't like vegetables, so that turned like no. But that was my run.
All right.
I feel like though musically with the guitar and the bass and the synth and everything, it doesn't sound 70s to me.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
It's very 80s
80s
sound.
is-
I do agree, but I do feel like there's a heavy sense of that funk
Yeah,
that's being brought over.
That's Louis Johnson.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the bass.
absolutely.
Rest in peace.
Zach, why don't you go ahead? What's your run, man?
The girl is mine.
Yes, that was the other one.
Oh my
Where we
This
have
is
it
the easiest. This is so easy. This song sucks.
Wait,
so
what do you
much.
mean it's so easy?
If we had
Some
to-
of us might come up with something different.
If,
Maybe.
like,
West
if
Side
I had the
Story,
same
the
one
two of
as
them,
him,
I saw
can
it-
I just go on and talk with him?
No,
Are you
well,
with me?
do
Oh,
we
Was that
want
also
to
your run?
do we want to
Yeah,
do that? Do
'cause
we
I
want
didn't
to
have
do we
that.
want
I
to say
didn't
if at any time someone mentions your runt, you can go ahead and just jump in with
Yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what my runt is as well.
Gotta be.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one list. And like Zach
We'll just
wants to go.
tag team it. Zach,
Okay.
you start us, and then
Well,
Derek, you start.
Well, you say we were just talking a second about songs being from the '70s, and that to me that one just
Yes.
Yes.
comes straight from the '70s. I mean,
That's true.
it to me it sounds different than every other song on here. Well, and let me also mention ones that are my runts. Sometimes songs that I don't like as much, sometimes I kind of enjoy them because there's a lameness to them that I think that I get pleasure out of, but just the lyrical content and the back and forth, and it's kind of painful.
It is a little
It's a lot of
cringy.
But it makes me
cringy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I cringe.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, Michael.
And as much as I
No,
cringe,
What does Michael say that?
It's Michael.
Michael says, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
it's as much as I cringe, I also get pleasure. It's like we were talking the other day about same old Lang Syne. Like
Dave Fogelberg.
Dave Fogelberg song, Christmas song that I was like, that's so ridiculous and depressing. And I had to tell
Sorry, Dan.
had to tell my
He's dead.
Sorry to the families of Dan Fogelberg.
I used to tell my
If
friends
any
like,
of you would like to be on the podcast, we'd like to.
I used to tell my friends like, dude, you gotta listen to the song they're playing on the radio. It's just ridiculous. It's straight out of the '70s. It's kind of just I don't know. Kind
I
of.
like the.
And then I started
Girl Is
liking
Mine.
it. I started liking
my other bad
that
one.
song.
Those were the
Live
two
Above.
that just.
I think
I
it's a little
like that,
cringy, but
because
it's
it
not my-
has just
it's not
a-
my runt though.
The whole back and forth between
Yes.
him and Paul is so
But
terrible.
let me
It
say-
was like West Side Story.
Okay, it's not as
Who believes
it's
that
not as
Michael-
bad as like the whole like Bing Crosby / David Bowie Christmas special.
I like that
That's
song.
creepy
That was
cool.
good. I like that song.
I do too. It's like a
Yes.
creepy cool sort of
Creepy.
weird. I don't know.
That's such a weird combination of personalities.
That's true.
But
and
I
it works because
Yeah.
David Bowie has a really cool voice and Bing Crosby had a phenomenal
I feel
voice.
okay. I feel like you could say perhaps there is some cheekiness to the back and forth, whatever. However, just as a track, I feel like it's got like this smooth quality. It's like really
You like the
Oh, I agree with that.
smooth kind of
chimes.
R&B kind of feel. Like
It is a smooth
I
song.
feel like it complements the album and doesn't fight the album.
I feel like it
That's
should be on a
why-
different. I feel like it
that's
should be
why
on
I
an
picked something
earlier
else for the
album.
runt right
Oh, yeah.
there.
I feel
What's
like
that?
it should
That's why I picked a different song than that one for the runt.
it should have been
Okay.
on this song should have been on the same album with Say Say Say. This should not have been on Thriller.
It should not have been on a Michael Jackson album.
No,
Mhm.
it should have been on Paul McCartney's album.
Wow.
Because I
Just
don't,
for the record, I think I might like Say better.
Say 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 is better. I'll say that.
You should
It's
say it.
soft.
You should say it 3
I'll
times.
say
You should
say
say it.
I should. I hate Say Say Say. It's better than this song. I mean,
Any other things you guys need to get off your chest
Right.
about the girl is mine?
just the back
You're just
and forth.
haters of Paul McCartney.
No, I love Paul.
Okay.
Just not when he
Paul,
keeps
if you're
up with
listening, we'd love to have you on the show.
Yes, Macca, you're one of the best musicians
Yes.
ever. One of the
Phenomenal.
best songwriters ever. Your bass lines are amazing. This song sucks.
Since Michael can't defend himself, we believe it's all Michael's fault, Paul. And if it's true.
Even
I
after
mean,
they remixed it for a week.
Here's what.
Yeah. Oh my
See,
God.
Now here's
Really originally sound like wow.
here I think might be the problem.
Okay.
We are here in 2019.
Yes, we are.
We
Yes.
are. Michael Jackson died 10 years ago. But we know all of the probable sordid details of Michael Jackson's life.
Alleged.
Yes.
Alleged. That's
Alleged.
why I'm saying probable.
No, probable is not the same as alleged.
Whatever. We know that we know Michael Jackson liked kids.
I allegedly took a shower, and I probably took a shower. You totally. And by the way, if you're listening, I did take a shower. And
Michael
I took a
Jackson
shower.
allegedly liked the kids a lot. Now, I have a hard time believing that he's having this verbal tussle with Paul McCartney over a woman. Because one, Paul McCartney was married to Linda.
So you're
I can't suspend my disbelief.
One of your primary reasons for hating the song is you can't accept the fact that Michael would be
attracted to a woman that's not like 10. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a little
They've
biased.
been linked to
But-
different women. Brooke Shields.
But apart from that,
That nurse.
I-
I didn't know her
apart
name.
from all of that, it's
Whoever
still
had-
just a cheesy, stupid song that's
Okay.
completely out of
He has
phase.
a
It
kid.
felt like
with the
it
rest
felt
of
like it was a filler
Yeah,
song.
he had to
We need to
like,
put another
he had to
song
like,
on there.
He had to like
Okay.
women at least for a small amount of
Lisa
time.
Marie Presley.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that wasn't awkward.
Yeah, not at
No,
all.
not at all.
And
Still
then
isn't.
wasn't she with Nick Cage after
Yes.
that?
Nick Cage.
She was like going for like
Nick
the
Cage, if you're
triple
listening,
crown.
you
Absolutely. Please.
We love to have you on the show.
I don't know what that was.
I was trying to do my Nick Cage.
I know.
Impression, that's
I
what
know.
that was.
All right,
Is it my turn?
Matt.
My runt is The Lady in My Life, the last track.
Oh,
It's for the exact reason we just talked about. This, I feel like
he didn't write it.
that's not why I did.
And,
I'm just saying.
and I'm gonna say right now that too is my my
awesome.
runt.
Nice. 3-5.
Yeah, no, which
So-
means that we're gonna be at a tie off.
For
the worst.
I listened to this album. It's like banger, 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 dance party, dance party, dance party. Pretty Young Thing comes on, and you're like, yeah, this is a great groove.
Yeah.
And then it ends in the most disappointing way for me.
It is
and
so anticlimactic.
And I don't think it's a bad song. I think it's a ballad that shouldn't be at the end of the song. This is a whole CD that's full of like grooves and dance
Well,
stuff.
see, and this
then
is
he
where-
ends it with this
and
like
this is where I-
sappy, I'm gonna take you home, girl type ballad.
But see, this is where and my goodness, Zach, if your whole argument is whether or not would be singing a song to a woman, this song should have been your run. This is where I would disagree with you, Matt, because I would say this song is just a horrible song. I just feel like it's not a good song at all. Like I think it might be one of Jackson's worst songs, and it's on his best album.
I didn't feel like it was that bad, but I just feel like it's so out of place that it's like it left me like really disappointed, especially like because I do like Pretty Young Thing. I think that's a great song.
Yeah,
and then
would have been a solid closer.
You could just end it there, and it would have been like so awesome. But instead, it just sort of like falls off a cliff at the end of the album.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. It's kind of like, was there a reason why you chose not to end with 8 songs? You feel like you had to have a 9th song,
right?
Or how bad was, because every time you go into a studio you got multiple songs you're choosing from.
Sure.
What other songs did you decide weren't good enough for this album that you threw Lady in My Life on at the end?
Or was there pressure from like the record company or something to say, hey, put like a ballad in there, like put a slow dance song in there
obviously,
too. You know
obviously.
what I mean? Like there something like that, and that's just what they landed on.
Well,
but,
I read
Did Temperton
somewhere.
and Jones have a contract where they had to have at least how many songs on
yeah.
it?
I
Well,
mean, there's
and I
probably
actually read that Lady in My Life and Human Nature, that they were 2 ballads that they kind of fought to put on there because it tied him back to hip hop, or not hip hop, but R&B.
Sure.
And so they were afraid that the rest of the album was too dance pop, funk, and they wanted to tie it back to the R&B. So they threw it on there, which Human Nature.
I like Human Nature.
Is one of my what I would say is a highlight of the album. But Lady in My Life is just, my gosh, it would, like you said, if I'm listening to this album, I do not typically listen to the final song. I typically turn it off after PYT.
So I always thought The Lady in My Life, I thought it
This
sounded like
is
it
not
could
going to
be...
be serious. Wait, because I know that this is going to be serious. Wait, what are you
already.
I know.
No, actually it kind of was. I mean, it's going to sound stupid, but it is actually serious. But I always felt like it could be like on like a Kenny Rogers album. Like I could see Kenny Rogers doing it with the title.
In my life.
Dude, that is it.
Yeah.
That's what I heard in my heart.
But what does that say about the fact that it's on Thriller? If that's the case, like,
Michael Jackson's so versatile.
I don't think that's what I don't think that's what it says at all. Versatile is having Eddie Van Halen do a killer guitar solo over like right in the middle of your CD, right? Or your album.
I just felt like the song was slow.
Yeah.
It wasn't believable, and it just felt lazy. It felt like a lazy track. But
Yeah, almost like it had to do it. The record was only 38 minutes. You gotta throw something back on.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's literally tagged onto the end too.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was in the middle,
this is the
I
one
wouldn't feel
song that
way,
fits the
but-
time that we have left in the tape.
Right.
Well, looking at the discography, the total length of everything is 42 minutes,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that song was 5 minutes long.
Right.
Wow. So yeah.
So it's just let's get it over 40 minutes so that people don't call it an EP.
Yeah.
It gets
Right.
us that extra money.
But I do wonder because I feel like out of all the tracks, it's the one track it seems so out of place. And I do wonder if it had something to do with like a contractual thing. Although I feel like Michael had the power to veto and do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, but don't forget,
He
Quincy
had to want
Jones
this song
was
on there.
huge at that time.
Mm-hmm.
To have Quincy Jones' name on your
Yeah.
album was another driver.
Yeah, I wonder at the end of the day who fought to have that on there, and I couldn't find any information about that one because I wanted to figure out more about that one track,
Right.
and it's the one track off the whole album that I couldn't find much of anything about other than who wrote it. But yeah, it definitely did not win any awards out of
No.
the seven. Out of the seven that went to be top 10 chart makers, that was not one of them. And what was the other one? We read them off at the
Baby Be
beginning.
Mine was the other one.
And Baby Be Mine.
Wasn't, yeah.
And it's funny, all three of those were the three least favorites that I had
Wow.
on the album.
Wow. So here we are, right? We have these are the official runts. So Steve, want to be starting something too doggone long, and then Derek, Zach, you guys are both girl is mine. Because you're just haters, and then and then Matt
Wow.
and I, lady in my life, Chuck. Nothing from Chuck.
Would have been the tiebreaker.
Chuck would have been the tiebreaker, possibly.
Possibly.
He was
What
going
is
to
it?
pick.
He definitely would have
He
said
was
"Lady
gonna
in My
pick
Life."
Girl's Mine. He told me that earlier.
Of course.
All right.
All right.
I will say that my number 2 run on this is.
Are we gonna do that?
I'm just.
Are we allowed? Okay, go
It's
ahead.
a pretty young thing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
You know what's weird
Really
about
like the
it
groove in that song.
is at the end in the credits they tell who the PYTs, the Pretty Young Things, are.
What?
Both Janet Jackson and
LaToya.
LaToya Jackson.
Not
His
Tito.
sister.
That's kind of weird. His
Yeah, I
sister-
think it's a
That's
little weird.
really weird.
Yeah, just
That's
throwing
creepy.
that out there.
That's creepy.
Wow.
Becky Lopez and Bunny
Well,
Hill also got some
Any
honorable mention there.
any
the
last
thing-
minute thoughts or
The
last
thing I
thoughts?
really don't like on Pretty Young Thing is there's like a vocal in it that they clearly did something to where they sound like a chipmunk.
Yes.
Mhm.
It sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks were
that was
singing.
cutting edge.
That was stupid. That's cutting edge of the 50s. Whenever they did Alvin and the
Vocoder.
Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, Urban Cowboy or Urban Chipmunk. Oh, that was such a good album. I had that album.
Wait, what?
Urban Chipmunk.
What are you talking
What?
about?
It was an
Is
Alvin and the Chipmunks album. It was
Were they
based off of
rapping?
Urban Cowboy, but it was Urban Chipmunk. Mama,
can't
don't
s-
let your babies grow up to be chipmunks or something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
What?
It was that will be on the show next week. Now,
Can we
any
do
last
Freddie's
thoughts?
greatest hits next?
Any last thought? No greatest hits. That's the other thing. I think we decided no greatest hits, right?
Do you know what Freddie's greatest
Sorry,
hits is,
Eagles.
though?
What?
Do you know what Freddie's greatest hits is, though?
Freddie's greatest hits.
Yeah.
Is this a Nightmare on Elm Street?
It 100%
I figured
is.
it would be.
Yes. It's an entire album of Freddy Krueger songs.
Do you like the Will Smith's tribute song?
Oh, with-
Nightmare on My Street
With
Oh,
DJ
with Jazzy Jeff.
No,
Fresh
I
Prince.
don't.
From the face, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Not a big
No,
Will
but I
Smith
have
fan.
heard them.
Yeah.
So, guys, hey, thank you all for listening. If you have your thoughts as to what should be the runt off of Thriller, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. We are the Runt Podcast. Look us up, comment, tell us what you think. We need somebody to break this tie. So all of you who believe that Matt and I are correct, please go ahead and
Yes,
follow
nobody
us.
does.
And everybody else, we don't really care if you. No, I'm just kidding. We want all of you. To all the names that we dropped during this episode, please hit us up. We would look forward to having you on the podcast. Just don't expect Chuck to get you here. But anyway, this is it for the Rump Podcast. We will come back with another album soon. So please follow us and be looking for that. Until then, I'm Danny.
Matt.
Steve.
Derek?
Zach.
And Chuck.
Chuck.
And we are the Runt Podcast. Thank you guys for listening.